Welcome to HealingUS Podcast. Today we have AlanaFrancesca.
It's true.
We got two first names for her first name. It's amazing, and her life is even more amazing. She is a talented photographer and a content creator who has turned your passion of storytelling into a successful career. So I can't wait to have this conversation with you and learn more about you.
Thank you.
So tell me, what got you into photography and content creation?
Thanks for asking. I have been utterly obsessed with taking photos my whole life and just kind of freeze framing and remembering everything that way. I see every life through metaphors. I'm an English geek. So yeah, just as long as I could remember, I've been taking pictures of everything. Watching my mom just record and take pictures of every move we were making. It actually annoyed me back in the day. But yeah, once I got my hands on my first camera and started taking pictures, this was 10 years ago, I said to myself, why don't I just try to kind of make this into a career path, because I'm not a 9-to-5 girl. I'm a creative. I like my freedom and autonomy, so I figured, all right, let's see how I could make this happen.
It's hard to be a creative person and do a 9-to-5.
Yes, it was
like
torture.
Soul killing.
Exactly right. So yeah. Absolutely.
So as a little girl, did you do photography? You said 10 years ago, so it's quite recent the photography started. Were you an artist before? Did you like the pictures, or you said literature, right?
Yeah, I was an English major in college. Big poetry girl. Read a lot of books. I remember being on vacation and being asked when I was like 6 what I wanted to be when I grow up, on a cruise in front of like hundreds of people. And I just was like, an artist. And I just kind of, that's my identity. So 10 years ago when I was 20, I started to try to dabble and make some money in little ways by taking pictures.
Amazing. You mentioned your mom. Was she into photography as well?
Yeah, she was really into it as a hobby, strictly a hobby, and also I think that she innately felt she wasn't going to be around too long, so she, I think because of that, took a massive amount of photos and made hundreds of albums for myself and my sister to have and cherish and look at, so I'm really grateful for that.
That's really introspective. Was your mother sick for a long time?
Yeah, she was sick with cancer for many years. She went into remission for a little while, and then it came back, but she was sick for quite a while.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And
Thank you.
It sounds like she was a huge influence on your life.
Absolutely.
And was her passing a big part of when you gravitated fully into like, I need this for myself and I have to do something more for myself?
Yeah, definitely. I think her passing, even though I kind of was really rocked with it and went into my shell a little bit, I also said to myself that everything I do from here forward is for two people, and I wanted to just kind of like do everything in the world that she would have wanted to continue to do that she didn't get the chance to, because she was a stay-at-home mom for me and my sister. So yeah, I was like, let's go all out, and in the time we got, like, let's just
took that leap of faith and I'm doing this.
Let's do all the creative and fun stuff that you always wanted to.
Love it. So what kind of like mediums do you use in your work?
Like in terms of photography?
Yeah, like what do you photograph? What do you create essentially?
For sure. So I started off doing nature photography.
Okay.
I moved to California. I took a ton of pictures on my road trips.
One of the best places to do it.
Oh yeah, the most beautiful state in my opinion, in the United States. But I started off landscape photography, and then that kind of trickled into like getting my friends like, hey, you guys want to do some photo shoots? And then that turned into I was getting hit up to do engagements. Then I started doing weddings and bridal showers, and so with that, I then was like, what if I did social media management for small companies that are super passionate about their brands? And then I started taking pictures of products. So I kind of just do a little bit of anything anyone wants. As long as they're people or products that like people are super passionate about, or the people are just very
so
like
that's what you limit it to, like you
yeah. It's a vibe kind of that I get.
Yeah, I understand that. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's easier to work with somebody when they believe in what they're doing, right?
Yes, yes.
And then, I mean, probably from like a photographer's standpoint, you probably see that through the lens when you're working with them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I mean, that's a huge. You went to school for law originally.
No. I went to Quinnipiac, so it's like a school of law in Quinnipiac. That's super, Quinnipiac is known for their law program, but I went for communications and English.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I was truly an English girl. Yeah.
Through and through.
Through and through. It's my dream to write a book, actually. So.
Awesome. Have you started?
In little ways, but I never really have gone for it yet.
Yeah, it's a hard process. I've been telling myself to write my story for the longest time.
Okay, so you want to too.
And finally I embarked on it. Like we've written, little excerpts of like different things, but I finally took the nosedive. So I'm hoping to actually release that in the next couple months. So
that's awesome. I will be buying it.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll hold you to it then. Maybe you could do you could take a picture for the cover. That'd be sweet.
Absolutely.
So
I'm here for it.
Yeah, but it's finding those passionate people. So do you feel like doing this work? What does it do for your mental health, and how does it make you feel?
The more I engage in it, the more I feel like grounded with myself. And then I get this wave of, I need to be more financially stable. I need that 9 to 5 to feel consistent and to feel like everyone else, because that's, to me, you grow up thinking that a 9 to 5 is a mark of success and consistency. And so I have that like war with myself all the time. So then I dabble in these like part-time 9 to 5s and just feel the soul sucked out of me. And I'm like, okay, let's figure out how to really go all out with my creatives and also make a living that's sustainable.
Those social constructs that we like have to fight against are the worst. And it really is true. Like, success is really defined on an individual basis. Like there is, if your individual basis is off base from that social construct of success, it just feels like you're doing something wrong even though you're not.
That's right there.
And you have obstacles. You're still running a business. You're still like have to eat and all those kind of things. It's the normal everyday problems that everybody deals with, right? And then you got this extra layer of trying to get up a hill while the rest of society is going, you're not even on the right hill.
Exactly. It's that, like you said, the feeling of being in trouble, being guilty, feeling like you're doing something wrong is like a feeling I struggle with my whole life.
So how do you manage that?
So I think to like backtrack a little bit, growing up in an Italian-American family for one, and being so different and thinking so differently from my blood and from my core family, which I never understood why that was the case. It's so hard for me still to this day, even though I think I've gotten better at it, to just live my gut and my truth, I guess you can say, even though I don't like saying my truth. And I just think I just started taking little risks here and there. And I know my family thinks I'm like a black sheep, and sometimes I don't know that they truly like understand me, but it feels really good to follow my heart. And I did it in like the biggest way I could think of is just packing up a U-Haul and moving to California a couple years ago, and that was the best thing I've ever done.
Have to escape. Yeah, I have an Italian family as well. I'm very well aware of the Italian guilt that comes with it, and the expectations, that come with that as well. Yeah. And it's it's huge for you to know yourself enough to take a leap and a risk like that. and I applaud you for actually making the move.
Thank
because
you.
There's so many people that we sit and we dream of it, but never actually make that happen. And what it does when us as humans decide to make that move of unconditional acceptance, that unconditional acceptance of self and love for self. What we do, and if we dive full into it and we get the validation of true individualized success for ourselves, all of a sudden, like, a fire's lit. That passion, that drive, that internal motivation that we look for, and then all of a sudden opportunities started rising.
You're so right.
Now you have the confidence to jump through those doors, jump into the unknown and be like, I'll survive.
Yeah, that's beautifully put. Yeah.
And so I'm so happy that you're able to find that in your life. What are some memorable projects that you've had throughout this time?
I guess in terms of projects, I think it was more like, what's so memorable for me is constantly doing things that I'm so scared to do and then seeing the result. Like when I moved to California, my first time walking into a coffee shop that I really loved and I appreciated their brand, and just like being so scared but saying, hey, I saw your social media, it's not too built up, and I think I could really offer you an awesome package. Like, can we work something out? I'll charge you, and I charge dirt cheap to start off. And like little things like that were so fulfilling for me to feel like, I can do this. I just did that. And also like then building their brand, and this, I'll never forget her, Denise. She's this Turkish woman who opened a coffee shop in Hermosa Beach. It was called Lucky 7. And, she left her country, her whole family's still in Turkey, and she's trying to like make ends meet at this coffee shop, and me going in there and taking photos of like her pride and joy and all the little trinkets and the t-shirts she made on the side to sell, as well as the coffee and all the food, and just kind of putting that online and trying to get people into her storefront was... It's just a fulfilling thing to work for people who are like, wow, you're such a good human. Like, you made me happy every time I came into this coffee shop, and your products are good. Like, let's do it. So
it sounds like an amazing experience. The way you talk about it is you actually like kind of get to step in someone else's shoes when you're doing this content creation. You're obviously like attracted to that,
Yeah, I think that my favorite thing in life, like, I'm a big human experience person, and I am not able to not feel what someone's feeling when I'm around them.
Empathic.
Like to a fault. I mean, I don't know how you say it. Like, it's my biggest downfall, and also I think one of my biggest strengths. But yeah, when I feel a good person, like, I want to do everything I can to like make them feel seen, and by doing photography for them, like, that's one way of doing it.
I talk about it all the time. Like, our gifts are often our curses, right? And they become curses when they're unbalanced, right? And or we're going against that grain where we're doing something that's not true to ourselves. So true. We wear it on our sleeves wholeheartedly, and so like you being able to balance that out and being able to be in a career path that, like, for an empath, is a perfect situation. Like, I get to step inside your shoes, feel what you're feeling, and then create something that speaks to that truth. That's huge.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to start doing content creation.
You should. I mean, you do, right? Like,
I guess in a way, in a way. I mean,
you're a big piece to it.
I mean, that's what attracted me to mental health services, addiction services to begin with. I've always found myself in some kind of path, helping profession of some sort.
Definitely. It's
amazing that you're able to do it through art. I love art, but I never turned it into a career path. I didn't know how to. So how have you navigated the challenges of life with personal loss, career changes, and these creative pursuits?
It's a forever navigation. I don't think it'll ever end. I suffer 90% of the time, but I like live for the 10% that I'm, really living and helping people. So yeah, it's just a never-ending battle, and I just try to use my hurt to just
create something else.
Yeah.
Do you have like practices of like self-care that you institute?
Yeah, definitely. I was a big self-sabotager for a really long time, but I got myself into therapy. I started really honing in on the things that like make me happy and feel therapeutic to me. So I got a gym membership with a basketball court. I play like every day with the guys, 5v5, pickup. That's awesome.
Did you play in high school?
Yeah. I did, yeah. So that's a big thing for me. Music is like my absolute go-to. I spend like 100% of my day listening, singing, dancing with myself.
Nice.
Yeah, just like all of the above. So yeah, sports, music, take long drives, talk to my mom. I'm like a crazy person. I write a lot of poetry. And I go for massages.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have a girl, Zanetta. She's incredible. Like she's a miracle worker. So yeah, like little self-care things that get me through, and then hot showers, like so hot you'd burn the devil.
Okay, that sounds like my wife. I don't know how she like melts her skin off. I'll hop in after her, and I'd have third-degree burns. Yes.
Yeah, it's a woman thing.
I don't know why that is. Do you have ADD?
I've been told from some people.
Because I hear it's like an ADD thing too.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know the science behind it, but
I think
at least that's what my wife claims.
I could understand that because it's actually one of the only thing that stops my brain.
It's like a sensory thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. When I'm under running water, like all is right with the world.
We might be onto something. We could do like a scientific study on this.
We definitely can.
Yeah.
We really
so it's great that you have all this self-care. I mean, fitness is a huge one, obviously.
Yeah.
And is there any kind of like therapeutic intervention that like worked particularly well for you?
Yes, this is a really interesting topic that I feel like is so not discussed or known, but I had like severe RJ OCD for a really long time.
RJ OCD?
It's retroactive jealousy OCD. And I had this issue in many of my intimate relationships so bad that I was so desperate for help and finally found online that this is a thing, which was liberating because I was like, I'm not crazy. I just really suffer from OCD, which is typically you think of like turning the lights on and off a million times or retracing your steps, but my OCD is in my brain.
Right.
And it's so hard to explain that to a partner. So the therapy that helped me absolutely the most was this guy from New Zealand that I would Skype because it was his niche, like it was his thing.
That's what he specialized in?
He specialized in RJOCD solely, and it was like groundbreaking for me. And I still struggled with it in my next relationship after that therapy. But I made so much progress that now I feel like I did it. I got through it. So that's awesome. That was a huge therapy for me. For the record, I've never spoken this out loud. I don't think I've ever even told anyone really, but RJOCD, retroactive jealousy OCD, essentially to just backtrack for a second, I like had OCD growing up, and then that festered into I would always obsess over something. So before I was in relationships officially, I would obsess over death, really. And then, of course, the worst of the worst happened to me. That really reaffirmed that fear.
So prior to your mom's passing, you already had this obsession over
I did. I had obsessions over, mental obsessions, for sure. It was severe anxiety growing up. And then the OCD kind of started as a way for me to, I'm trying to think of the words. Yes, yeah. I'm a control freak. I hate feeling out of control, so that was my way of trying to get a grasp and control of situations, is by thinking the same thing through so many times that it's debilitating. So then once I started getting into relationships, and I am such an intense person, I would hone in on them so strong that it was no longer about death. It was like, okay, well, what can I obsess over here in this relationship? And it just kind of materialized into one specific thing of being so obsessed with their past and their past relationships, particularly like the intimacy that they shared with previous people. And I think it was a way for me to focus on something negative so that I could run away and leave, because I'm so afraid of love because of my abandonment issues and happiness. And so I just would incessantly have a cyclical pattern of asking questions about their past relationships. And it got so specific that it was really bad.
Yeah, I can imagine that, like, at times, like, you feel out of control, and it's like coming out of your mouth, and then you're like, did I just do that? Like, like almost like a wave of embarrassment like comes over afterwards. And,
absolutely.
You know, when we're looking at OCD, or it's obsessive compulsive, right?
Yeah.
So when we're obsessing over something, we get into that whirlwind of thoughts, and then the behavior, echoes that obsession. So I mean, that's, you're definitely not alone in that, and I didn't know they like labeled it in a way, which is important, because I think, a lot of people deal with that, and it's embarrassing to talk about, right? And I thank you for being vulnerable and speaking about it. And I think it's important that we bring this to light, because I think because of that embarrassment, I think a lot of individuals that are dealing with the same behavioral issues maybe get misdiagnosed as something else, like borderline or something of that nature.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. So you found your way out of this.
Yeah, by this man online speaking about his really horrific time battling it, and me hearing the specific things that he was saying, and I started crying, and I was like, yes, that's exactly what I ask. That's exactly what I do. And then it seems like I'm borderline or really insane, when really it's just that I cannot shut my mind off from thinking these things, and then I'm going to you like, please help me, please give me reassurance, and then they do. I feel better for a second, and then I ask the question again. So this man speaking up about it, me being able to get therapy from him, from someone who suffered it and then healed from it, I was like, yeah, I want everyone to know about this, because if there's one person that can be helped from thinking that they're absolutely borderline insane and unlovable and can't have a functional relationship, it's so important that people know that, like, this is a thing. Yeah.
And what kind of, was there tools and stuff that you did in this therapy?
Yes, there was. It was kind of like a while ago, but essentially it's just perpetual acknowledgement of when your body starts to get like that hot feeling, and you start swirling an idea, to know that idea is completely made up in your brain, and you stop yourself from asking the question. And if you do that enough times and stop yourself from asking that question, the cycle is broken, because really it's just you form a habit out of not asking that question, out of being super present, looking at the person you're with, saying, well, they're here with me now. Right. Like that, what they did in the past, like, you can't change it, it doesn't matter, and it was pre-you. Yeah, when I'm helping people, I make it a big priority to recognize emotions and thoughts, but correlate it with what your body feels. Yes.
Because when you're in it and it's happening, you're not really aware of anything, but you will feel your body. It's coming up. You don't know what it is, or you can't put a name on it, but you will. And I try to link that when I'm speaking to someone and they're going through something, like, what are you feeling right now? Like, is the hair standing up on the back of your neck? Do you feel pit in your stomach? Do you knot in your throat?
Yeah.
Because these are all signals. Because when you go forward and you start doing that process, you start laying out the groundwork. Okay, when this happens, this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and you could start interrupting that process.
Yeah, being hyper aware of everything you're feeling.
Yeah.
That's really effective.
It's that mind-body connection, and then essentially you're disputing irrational beliefs like through this process.
Exactly.
Yeah. Beautiful. And what's this man's name? Are we allowed to share it?
Rob. I'm forgetting his last name. His name was Rob. I will probably think of it the moment this ends. Rob from New Zealand. Shout out to you.
All right.
He probably has no idea how much he helped me, but yeah, that was
awesome. Well, if you ever get his name, and he's still maybe out there helping people, I'd love to put it in a link if anybody watches this and they're suffering from the same thing. That'd be huge. So, I mean, that's so how long has it been that you would say that you're in remission?
So I started this therapy about midway through my last serious relationship, and although it didn't end up working out much because of my issues kind of spilling over and into that relationship, awesome guy, and I just could not I couldn't stop.
You got to stumble before you get it.
Exactly. I couldn't stop self-sabotaging, and essentially just my anger issues were pretty brutal, but I made major progress with that by the end of that relationship. So I didn't get to see now, like, how can I practice and see how I would be going forward. But I've been seeing someone now. It's been a year and a half later since that therapy and since, that help that I got. And it's been the year of healing, grieving, the death of my mom in my face, being back in Old Bridge, New Jersey, and then coupled with like all that therapy, and now like let's see how I do. And I feel like I'm really proud of how I'm doing. And there's been some things that have come up in this new relationship that I'm in right now, and I'm like, wow, like it worked.
Yeah. You really threw yourself to the wolves.
Obviously. I battle still mentally, but I'm noticing that I'm really able to work through it so much better, so much more mature. So I feel really happy with that.
I would love to see like a collective that like you put some poetry and like some photography together.
Thank you.
Around this.
That's exactly what I want to do. Is make a coffee table poetry book with pictures.
Yes.
Black and white.
100%.
Yeah.
I think that would be an amazing like experiential work of art.
Thanks
for sure.
for that encouragement. That's awesome.
So you've started on this project, or this is a vision board right now? It's
a vision board / I have so much content that if I just put it together, I kind of just have the book right there, but
So let's do something right now, okay? Because we set these things called goals.
Cool.
All right?
I like those, but also
and we do SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So what specifically are you going to do?
Specifically, I'm going to sit down on my computer and put all of the pictures and all of the poems that I want up on that computer. And then from there, tap into each of them. How do I want to edit them? What do I want to add? Things like that.
Awesome.
Like start it, I guess.
Okay. And then how are you going to measure the success of it?
Literally, my measure for success is publishing it and having a tangible copy in my hand. Doesn't matter if not one person buys it, but my best friend.
Awesome. Are you capable of attaining it?
Yes.
Is it realistic?
Yes.
When are you going to get it done?
I'm going to cry. By the new year.
All right. We'll hold you to it.
Okay.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's been great talking to you.
You too.
And as soon as you have that book, we'll put it up there.
I love it. That's awesome. Thank you so much. This was really fun.
Thank you again for listening to HealingUS Podcast. Please remember to like, follow, share, and subscribe.